All right, hello, my name is Sean DiGiorgio. I am the director of the film you're about to watch, Midbay, and I'm going to be doing a director's commentary on how we made this product. Midbay was written while I was still in high school. I think I wrote Midbay when I was in psychology class, not paying attention, and I was just like, oh, I really like the water. Let me write something that would be about the water and stuff. And I'm just going to be kind of talking through a little bit of how Midbay was made and the kind of like the lore behind why I made this film and when I did and how I did and stuff like that. So it started off with so the location we shot at was and still is my family's bay house. And as a kid, I loved going there, and I still love going there. And across the shore is actually a real naval base, and you see planes flying out of there all the time. And I just thought that was so cool. And I've always thought, like, there's one, I've always wanted to shoot a film there, and two, like, what happens if something military happens like right across the shore? What are they going to do to the people that live across the shore? Like, what happens with all of that? So that was kind of the inspiration behind this story, and then I just kind of filtered in themes and crap like that. I definitely wanted the themes of Midbay to be about my own fears of change. I think my character, because I should have said that earlier, but I do play Oliver in the film as well, and Oliver is definitely a caricature of me, and in fact, all these characters are caricatures of people that were in my life at the time of writing this. And complete side note, this is my dad, who's the news person, and I think that's pretty funny, but we'll get on that later. So, the Midbay, even though it's set in this like hypothetical, war scenario, is very much based off of what was happening in my life. There was, because I wrote this my senior year of high school with the oncoming giant change of jumping to college, right? So, in a sense, this military base that Oliver loves being destroyed is little Sean DiGiorgio switching from high school to college. And when I was, writing this and doing rewrites, getting closer to filming, I definitely kept that in mind. And I'd like to think that those themes were captured, because I still come back to this film from time and time again, and I'm just like, okay, I'm very proud of it. So that's basically how Midbay came to be, and we started pre-production very late into the process. I would say we started. Let's see, I wrote it in like November of 2021. And we shot it in August 2022. I'd say pre-production started no later than like June 30th of 2022. So like a month and a half basically before we started filming this. So that means we had to get locations, we had to get actors, we had to get all this stuff. In terms of where to start with that entire process, I guess we could start with the cast. I wrote Oliver for me. I was always going to play Oliver. That was just kind of a thing that I just wanted to do. In hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I don't recommend, as a director, being the star of your own film. If that's all you can have, if that's all you have, perfect, great, do that. But it was a terrible idea. I'll talk about it later, but I wasn't really able to focus on the direction of it as much as I would like to. But enough about me and Oliver. Let's talk about this amazing cast. Here you see Jaden Fleming as Rose. Jaden also went to high school with me. I believe everyone in this cast and crew went to high school with me besides Jonah. But Jaden, was a really great actress. I saw her act in a lot of things, in a lot of acting classes. So when she auditioned, I was really, really excited, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have some like really good people. And I remember sitting down and watching the audition with my entire family, because we had a lot of auditions to sit through, and I wanted to see their initial reactions and such like that. So I sat down and watched a few auditions, and then instantly knew that Jaden was gonna play Rose, because she played Rose with the kind of just like innocence, in a way, of just like unbridled care for this individual, and worry for like the decisions that he's going to be making, and that's really the vibe that I was going for when I was writing these characters. Is just I wanted them to be really real, and like I said before, they are caricatures of people that were happening in my life. Rose is an example of a person that I was really close with, while writing the script. Jonah is representative of my best friend. Gabby's character was, or I guess Jessica was just kind of thrown in as another force, but they all kind of fit into like the mold. But Jaden was a great cast, and I would never go back on it. Jonah, who you see on the left there saying "son of a bitch," I was doing a show called Little Mermaid, the Little Mermaid musical with Jonah, and his role was the one we cast the role of, I believe it's Alan, the character. Alan. We cast Alan 3 times before we got to Jonah, and it was like the director of photography, no, the assistant director, Lucas Sanchez, was actually watching The Little Mermaid, and we were like waiting for to audition more people for the role of Alan. He saw Jonah, who was playing Prince Eric in the show, and was just like, by the way, I talked to him after the show, he's going to be playing Alan. And I'm just like, okay, great. And Jonah was absolutely amazing. I had seen Jonah act, in Little Mermaid, and like this like theatrical, like big Prince Eric performance, but like seeing him go dramatic and seeing him go into this richness of this character and the circumstances that they're given is really something that I put a lot of trust into him in, and I was very pleased with what we got out of him. So great job, Jonah. And then Gabby Dwoskin. Gabby Dwoskin, I like to think of Gabby Dwoskin as like a rock in acting. I've always said that people talk a lot of smack, and Gabby Dwoskin is one of them, but Gabby can prove it. So Gabby is one of the best actresses that I know. So I was very happy that we were able to get her on board, and all these actors were amazing troops. Going through this entire shooting process. With not very experienced filmmakers, maybe had people who have like we had. I think, I had only done like 2 professional jobs at that point. My assistant director, Lucas Sanchez, had only done 2 professional jobs. And, we weren't as experienced as we probably should have been going into this. But the fact that we were able to make anything is a testament just to like movies itself. Before I talk about the shots themselves, I do want to talk about a little bit about the setup of how we brought this all together. A lot of it was just calling in favors and calling in just people that we knew. Assistant director is Lucas Sanchez, who I will introduce here in a bit to talk about the shots, but he he's been my filmmaking partner for years now, so it was a no-brainer to ask him to help with this project. And then he was able to get our lighting designer, who lighting designed our shows in high school. He was able to get our sound designer, who he knew personally, and a bunch of other people to help out with this. And another player is actually my grandpa, who let us use this house. And that was a lesson to be learned of never working with family, because it was way too stressful to work with all of them. But it was fine. But I think in the end, in terms of planning Midbay, I would have actually planned it instead of just being like, hey, we're gonna go down to the beach, I have a shot list, I have scripts, I have all this, let's make a movie. I would have actually put a lot more effort into making sure it was a well-oiled machine, instead of just like a couple people hanging out and making a film, even though we tried to keep it as professional as possible. But that's enough about like putting together Midbay. Let's talk a little bit about the nitty gritty into each of the shots and the technical aspect of Midbay. So here with me I have the assistant director and part-time camera operator and sound guy, Lucas Sanchez.
Hello.
Yes, he's been sitting next to me this entire time.
Right here.
Yeah. So Lucas, what can you say about like the technical aspect of Midbay? Because while I was working with the actors, you were kind of with Chris, the lighting guy, and Sarah, our sound supervisor, and kind of like bringing this all together behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's fascinating to look at. To try to create something, and working as an AD on a project where the director is actually acting in it. There's a lot of just simply, hey, this is kind of the next shot. I'm going to go work with the actors. This is you talking in my head. And then I grab everybody else and say, all right, we need to make this shot and set it up. But I honestly thought it was, like, with the time that we had, which was drastically cut short in the middle of our shooting.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think we honestly did a pretty bang-up job at using the time that we had. And it wasn't exceptionally stressful. I feel like just with the people.
For you, maybe. For you, I was shitting bricks. I did not know what was gonna happen. I did not know if we were gonna get kicked out. I didn't know if we were gonna be able to finish this. Yeah.
It was the size of the crew, I think, just worked. I think having a couple more hands would have been useful. But like for the most part, it was just a great group of people. And the adventure of just trying to get out to that location, which was a significant drive for all of us, was incredibly fun.
I mean, I feel like we have to talk about just how beautiful the location is, but it was far away.
Great spot.
And originally we did sleep in that house at night, but we were originally going to have to drive 3 hours back, and then.
So yeah, it was a 3-hour drive to get there, and the idea was that we only had a weekend to shoot. Or I don't even know if it was a weekend. It was 2 whole days. We were supposed to have 2 whole 14-hour shoot days. And we ended up being able to sleep in the house over a night, which was still up in the air whether or not we were actually allowed to do that when we arrived the first day. We were like, all right, guys, once we're done with this 15-hour shoot, we may have to drive 3 hours.
Never work with family, because then they'll just be like, by the way, you have to go, and it's like,
oh my God, man, that was insane.
But talking a little bit about like the shots here, like at the time I was very proud of it, and I'm very proud of Midbay. I'm extremely proud with how it turned out. But looking back, the shot composition and the scene composition, it is not my best work, but it's fine because it was my first work. In first actual short film work.
I think it definitely would have benefited. I feel like we didn't stick to the shot sheet very much. Like the list that we had, we kind of is very, very loose. And
we did improvise.
A lot of sets, a lot of shoots will work with a more improvised shot sheet, but I had no idea what this house looked like. The DP had no idea what the house looked like. So it was really difficult to form anything. At the end of the first day, we were just going. We were just not even looking at the list. We were just trying to make stuff.
Yeah, the DP was his name is Will Brooks, and we've worked with him a lot of times in the past. And we shot it in a way that we got everything we needed, but sometimes because of how it was thrown together, everything that we needed wasn't everything that we needed. We would go through a scene and be like, oh my God, we didn't have this character captured at all, or we didn't, it wasn't shot right, or maybe it was over storyboarded or over conceptualized, and we had to simplify it down.
It didn't help that the one other location besides this house that we had also bailed on us. This shoot didn't go it it didn't go smoothly. I'm so freaking glad that we managed to make.
We definitely went through some like perseverance
We were supposed
moments.
to shoot on a boat, bro.
We were supposed to shoot on a boat. We got there, and like an hour into the shoot, a person who was gonna give us the boat was just like, "Hey, never mind." And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" So I'm calling all these places nearby. I'm calling hotel bars. I'm calling just restaurants. I'm calling all these places.
Shot.
Yeah, that shot was good. It was a good shot. It was like a little dolly shot. I think, taking time. And one of the things that I've been trying to do now is just really taking time to perfect a shot. And I feel like we could have done so much more with, like, fewer but high quality composed shots. Like this shot, it's the only angle except for that back angle that we cut to just to show the base, But this angle is this entire scene. If we had more well composed shots, I mean, this shot isn't perfect by any means, but it's close, I feel like if we had more shots like that, Mid-Bay as a whole would be a little bit better. But as it's wrapping up here, by the way, that's my grandma, who I grew up going to this house with, so that's why I dedicated it to her. Yeah.
Do you want to talk really briefly about the VFX while the credits?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is so poetic. I don't know why, but first short film has to be a super VFX heavy.
Has to have like crazy smoke simulations. Fire for some reason.
Yeah. So I did. It doesn't look good. But I'm very, it looks like a beginner. It got the message across, and I don't think it distracts too much from the overall story.
How do we improve in the future?
Get someone who knows how to do visual effects. I've worked, I've worked, I've done visual effects supervising. I've gotten better at visual effects, and I feel like just the lesson learned is just hire someone else, man.
If you took this on, and if you took this on today, the effects would just simply...
And I would shoot it in a way that was VFX, it would... Friendly, yeah. But as we wrap up here, Mid-Bay was an experience that I think we all learned from. And, at the end of the day, we had a finalized film. And I think that just is a testament of Mid-Bay itself. The fact that we were able to get a crew together, get a cast together, and semi-professionally produce a short film.
It's pretty dope.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty fun.
Well, thank you, Lucas, for being with me on this director's commentary.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Took long enough to introduce me.
I had stuff I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, everyone. Maybe if you watched it, if you got this far, let me know.
Yeah, if you got this far, thank you.
Oh man. So what's our next film?
Probably Penrose.